Hi, Jim. Nice to see you. Thank you for coming on the our weekly recall. This is our premiere podcast, so we're really appreciative that we're talking about that you came on and that we're talking about Westchester Rec Center. When you think of Westchester, you're part of town. Of course, there's the airport, and there's you've got some your school system, of course, but you've got some notable colleges. You have Loyola Marymount, of course, on the top of the hill, Otis Art Center, and others. But when I growing up here as a native, when I would think of Westchester, I would think of the awesome athletics that had been there for 30, 40 years, and the epicenter of that is Westchester Park. Am I right about that?
Oh yeah, for sure. And thanks for having me on. I appreciate you taking time to discuss it. It's near and dear to my heart. It's just down the street from where I live. So it's really important, and it's just a shame to see what's happened to that park. I've been here for 20 years in LA in Westchester, and it was a great place. To raise a family. Having kids, taking the kids to the park when they were little, playing on the playground. They did a nice job with the skate park that's over there, and you got the rec center, the senior center. All types of activities going on over there: softball, baseball, basketball.
You got a driving range too, yeah?
Yeah. The driving range is right there. You got Westchester golf course right next to it. You have the tennis courts also right there as well.
Yeah. So people use it. So chances are, you let's say 2 years ago, you're there with your boys and they're young teens, right?
My daughter's 14 and my son's 11.
So there you go. That age of athletics is there and youth sports. But in earlier times that you go there, would it be the kind of thing you would be walking them? You and your wife would be walking them. I see you got your doggy behind you, and you'd run into friends. That was the point. Everybody knew at some point you'd be at that park.
Oh yeah, we had birthday parties there. You take the kids. It was a great place to fly a kite. We'd take the kids to fly kites because there's always a little windy over there, plenty of open space. And you just see a lot of people out there. There, barbecues there, people grilling, playing music. All the sports were there. I used to coach flag football for NFL Flag LA, and I held all my practices there because, again, it was the only place locally that we could go and just grab a section of field and start doing a practice. We didn't need a permit. We didn't have to schedule any times or anything. We could just coordinate with the team and say, hey, meet there, and we'll find a section of the park to use. That was the best part about it.
Yeah. So that's not going on these days?
Oh, God, no. Now with the homeless situation that's over there, the parking lot's taken over. There's a swimming pool over there too. I have no idea if that's ever going to come back. The whole area is just lined with tents from end to end. Every day there's more. It started with 10 or 20 and then 50, and now I got to say there's probably over 100, 150 tents at this point. And it's all over the park. It's literally from end to end.
So from what your observation is too, it's not that these are your neighbors who live live a mile away and got behind in their rent to an apartment and got nowhere to go and ended up in the park. These are people who've come from outside of Westchester, outside of Los Angeles, as it were.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there's the few cases here and there of the down and outs, but it's definitely a destination. It's become a destination now, and that's the scary part. Like I said, it started with just a few, and now it's 100 plus. More coming every day. So it's scary, and like I said, it's over by the tennis courts, it's the parking lots, it's the pool. Bonin has his office over there. Councilman Mike Bonin's office. They're all around his building. The senior center was totally inundated. It's a square building. The whole building was wrapped around and fully encased with tents.
Are people scared of crime? Quite bluntly.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. I personally, I'm not taking my kids over there. I'm not even taking my dog over there. And it's really sad. And there's been 2 shootings in the last 2 weeks. The last one was really bad. I had a coworker of mine. Her and her boyfriend were over at the driving range at the time that the shooting happened. And she said if anybody was walking up to the driving range at that point, they would have been hit, because she said she heard the bullets whiz by her head.
Oh my.
Yeah, and that was just last week.
How is this impacting your kids? How do they do when they're 14, 11?
Yeah, it's really sad. I mean, they just in the past, year and a half, they used to ride their bikes around here all the time. They'd go to the park. They'd take the dog to the park. We'd do football over there. Like I said, softball. We'd go over there and just practice. If they had a tryout or something, we'd go. That's where we went to go throw the ball around and just practice. We can't do any of that anymore. You go over to the softball field or the baseball field where the bleachers are. You got people sleeping on the bleachers. You got people that have thrown tarps and tents over the bleachers and are sleeping underneath the bleachers, pushing their tents right up to the fence. I mean, the last time I went there was probably, I don't know, 8 months ago. I went with my daughter to practice softball. And when we got there, we walked through the whole park. The whole time I'm looking over my shoulder, making sure nobody's following us. We get over to the softball field. There's about 5 tents right along the base path, So we kind of come in from the outfield, go on, we start running around, warming up. Right behind home plate, there's a tent with a guy half sleeping in the tent, half sleeping out of the tent with his pants around his ankles. Just face down. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, let's get out of here. So we left. And it's really sad. My kids won't even ride their bikes anymore. I mean, they're afraid to go around the neighborhood. They used to go to the Starbucks over there. There's a Subway nearby. They won't go over there anymore because right behind the Subway and the Starbucks, there's a huge encampment over there. And there's always, crazy homeless people shouting at you and walking in the middle of the street and causing a problem. And so my kids are afraid to go over there. They won't go to Westchester Park. I wouldn't allow them to go over there anymore. Even just walking down to the end of the street, if they take my dog on a walk every night, they're carrying mace at, 14 and 11 years old. They're carrying mace and trying to protect themselves because they're worried.
I'm so sorry. This is how this has impacted your family and your entire community. Where do you go now to throw the ball around? I mean, is there you have to get in your car and drive to another neighborhood?
No, I mean, we kind of rely on, the organizations that we're with. Delray American Little League is great. They have 2 fields, one here in Westchester, one down by the beach. And even down by the beach, Playa Del Rey, that field, I mean, it's a great, beautiful field. But, it has its issues. You see a lot of homeless try to set up shop down there at the lagoon. Luckily when, everything kind of started coming out of COVID and the sports started opening up again, a lot of the parents were kind of able to, dissuade these people from setting up camp right near the parks there. But really with COVID and shutdown and not having kids over there playing and not, having parents there to kind of police it, I think that really opened up Pandora's box to just this free for all of, camp wherever you want, do whatever you want, and there's going to be no repercussions. So that's what's sad. And, I reach out to Mike Bonin's office quite a bit. And then one of the emails that I sent to him, I said, hey, you got to get these places back open. You got to get the sports going again for kids, because without the sports, you don't have the kids there. You don't have the parents there. And then, like I said, you're opening up Pandora's box and you're allowing a free for all. At least, when the parents are there, we're able to, protect the kids. We're able to protect our park and our neighborhoods. And that, year of shutdown just really, really hurt that. So.
Final question for you, Jim. When you wrote those emails out to Mr. Bonin, did you get a reply? Did you call his office? Did anyone, his staffers, did Mr. Bonin get back to you? Anyone?
No, I mean, every once in a while, Hannah over there at his office would respond, just pretty generic response. I've dealt with them in a bunch of other issues from sidewalk disrepair to, safe crossings at schools and all other issues. But yeah, this is just one that they are super hands off and they just would not touch. They give you no response and just, they knew what was going on over there. They knew how bad it was getting. And even, their office must have been closed during COVID because nobody was there for a while. And even, their building there went unchecked. And, we saw with the email that came out from Hannah when she had to go back to work and she saw what the conditions were over there. She wasn't happy with that. So, I mean, that just shows you we've been complaining to them and telling them for full year how bad it's getting, and we need something done over there. And he'd put out these press releases and say, hey, we're going to allow safe camping, and we're gonna have security over there, and we're gonna have facilities. None of that's there. There's no security whatsoever. So that's what's really upsetting to me. And just the the hypocrisy of her coming back to work and seeing the conditions, and trying to get a homeless person removed from her front door. It's like, welcome to our world. That's the world that we're actually living in. And they're not.
Jim, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today, for being so candid. And again, as your neighbor to the north here from Venice Beach, please know that my sympathy goes out to you and your family. And I hope to see you sometime downtown in October, where we're both at the victory parade for those Los Angeles Dodgers.
Agreed. Thank you very much. And, neighbors to the north, I feel like it's Game of Thrones right now. Winter is coming. It's scary. So I feel for you guys. I know how bad it is up there. I know how bad it is in Mar Vista. I know how bad it is in a lot of places. So we all got to get together and take our city back, because it's not lost yet, but it's getting slim.